Now with the raft in hand, the heart container across the pond can be collected in the second quest. The latter is the treasure retrieved from the first quest level 4, so the heart container on the eastern shore is now accessible. Both of these heart containers are in the exact same locations in both quests, although the latter still hasn't been found in the second just yet. This gives you a total of 12 hearts at this point in the first quest, which happens to be the minimum amount that you need to be awarded the Master Sword from the old man in the graveyard. This makes level 5 much more manageable. However, the second quest is a different story, so its level 5 must be conquered still using the White Sword. As mentioned before, level 5 is at the top of the Lost Hills in Quest 1, while the raft found in the second allows passage across the lake to what was level 4 the first time around. So yep, you guessed it, level 5 in the second quest is going to resemble that one, and after the nightmare that the fourth dungeon was, is a welcome alleviation and frustration. For one, the map is shaped like the letter Z, so it's pretty easy to navigate through, and if you haven't noticed a trend here, the maps of the first 5 dungeons in the second quest spell out Zelda. Pretty nifty, huh? Much cooler than the first quest level 5, which is supposed to resemble a lizard. Sure. The creatures lurking in the second quest's level 5 consist of like-likes, Vyres, and Keys, and those lovable Wizrobes. While the lineup of the ghastly wizards and walking stacks of pancakes can be pretty intimidating, this dungeon is a novice's wet dream compared to that damn fourth labyrinth. On the same token, the first quest level 5 is inhabited mainly by the same villains from level 4 in Quest 2. No problem. Similar to its lookalike dungeon in the second quest, the first of 2 bomb upgrades is located here in Quest 1. The bow was also finally obtained in level 5, where it had been one of the very first items snagged in the first quest. The whistle is also located in its green-walled counterpart, which is exactly what you need to vanquish Digdogger here, also the boss in the second quest's green and red dungeon. So of course, that means Gleeok must be the foe guarding the Triforce in the second quest's level 5.
It's finally time to start mowing down enemies with a magical sword now that a 12th heart container is along for the ride. In the second quest, the sword isn't found by grave robbing like it is in the first, but can instead be located high up in the mountain area by bushing a rock to reveal a hidden staircase at the Arrow Rocks. This will make Labyrinth 6 a piece of cake. Level 6 is hidden in the graveyard, but you won't find it through the traditional means of heaving gravestones out of the way and bothering ghosts. A quick toot on the whistle will reveal the secret entrance, and for the second time in the game, the same dungeon in both quests will have a similar visual aesthetic and enemy repertoire, since both level 6s are found only a stone's throw away from one another on the map. They're both overwhelmingly full of Wizrobes with some Vyres and like-likes thrown in for good measure. Guard that big shield with your life, because you'll definitely need it here to stay safe in the Wizrobe crossfire. Level 6 in the first quest is meant to resemble a dragon, while in the second quest it looks more like a peacock's head, maybe? I can't really tell, to be honest. The item found here in the first quest is the magic wand, but in the second quest, the ladder is here. Finally! This item makes the game so much easier while maneuvering through dungeons, and also means we can finally get the heart container on the eastern edge of the map. In both quests, Goma is the final encounter before picking up the 6th piece of the Triforce.
Now with all of the hidden heart containers from both quests in hand, the remaining tasks are seeking out and vanquishing the final 3 dungeons. Up to this point in the first quest, all of the dungeon entrances had been out in the open. The final 3 are cleverly hidden. This is in stark contrast to the second quest, where all but 2 dungeon entrances are concealed. The pond just west of the Fairy Spring near the Lost Woods is where level 7's entrance is in the first quest. Like I had mentioned earlier, the pond dries up when Link blows on his whistle, revealing a staircase. The entrance to level 7 in the second quest is only one screen away from where level 8 is located in the first, so naturally this is the labyrinth that the 7th dungeon is gonna ape. This means a shindig with some of our favorite baddies in the game so far. Darknuts, Pole's Voice, and Gibdos. And let's toss in some red and blue bubbles into the mix just to get our teeth grating. The first quest level 7 is much more forgiving, infested with Goriyas, including a very hungry one who requires a meat stick to allow you to pass. Other small-time monsters can be found here as well, such as wall masters. The map resembles a demon head, while the second quest looks kinda like a snake? Or maybe a coil of poo? I don't know, but the red candle is the treasure down in the depths of each dungeon here.
Yay!
No more having to leave the screen and returning each time to burn a new bush. It's kind of a slap in the face to give us this prize so late in the game though. Geezers also inhabit both dungeons, however, only one of them will make Link's Christmas card list. The old man in the first quest offers the final bomb upgrade for 100 rupees, increasing the amount of bombs that can be carried to a maximum of 16. Yes! Unfortunately, the old man's sadistic brethren occupy 2 rooms in the second quest, each demanding that you surrender a heart container or 50 rupees to pass. To make matters worse, each of these codgers are literally separated by a single room, although only giving into one of them is required to proceed. This eventually leads you to Gleeok's lair. Sick of him yet? Aquamenus is once again guarding the Triforce piece in the first quest.
Now, if you thought burning down every tree in the Green Forest in the first quest to find Labyrinth 8 was tough, its hiding place in the second quest will blow your mind. It's another one of those who would have ever thought to do this moments. You have to use the ladder to cross the river and bomb the wall on the other side to reveal the entrance. Without the hint from the old man in level 6 talking about south of Arrow Mark hides a secret, I don't know if I ever would have found this one. In the second quest, level 8 is packed full of Goriyas just like its sister labyrinth in the first quest, level 7. There's also another Grumble Grumble room, so a second enemy bait is necessary to move on through the winding pathway. This purchase is just in time to deplete rupee stores before running into another lucrative purchase deep in level 8, the second and final bomb upgrade. The dungeon in the second quest looks like a giant spiral, and its shape fits like a glove with level 7's similar layout. In the first quest, the 8th labyrinth is supposed to look like a lion, but that's not something I've ever been able to see myself. Level 8 in both quests have 2 items stowed away. Both contain the magic key that allows every locked door in the game to be opened, which comes in handy going into level 9 where they're everywhere. The first and second quests have the magic book and wand, respectively. You take down a Gleeok in the first quest and face off against 3 Dodongos in the second. Hope you got that bomb upgrade because you're gonna need it.
Watch Zelda become a legend on your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda! After rocks! Which way you go? Good times! Pee hands! Levers! Zelda! Zelda! Zelda!
The Legend of Zelda. A never-ending adventure new for your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda!
Now with the Triforce completed, it's time to take down Ganon. The hidden locations for this malevolent pigman's hideout are both high up in Death Mountain. A bomb to the left boulder of Spectacle Rock reveals the entrance to level 9 in the first quest, while an explosive to the cliff face in the northwestern corner of the map allows passage into Ganon's domain in the second.
Walking into Dungeon 9 is just as ominous in the second quest as it is in the first. You're met with that familiar foreboding tune on the doorstep of what is truly an enormous maze filled with danger around every corner. This dungeon in both quests has some of the most nefarious foes in the entire game, including the likes of Like-Likes, Wizrobes, and even more red and blue bubbles. Could you imagine how much harder the first quest's level 9 would have been if you'd been stuck losing your sword every 5 seconds? There are also 2 kinds of level 9 exclusive enemies, Landmolas and Patras. The Patras have 2 distinct formations, one where the ring of mini Patras expands out to attack Link, while the other tilts on a slant to make combat more difficult.
And if the monstrosities lurking within aren't the stuff that nightmares are made of, the mazes in both labyrinths are so arduous, the only thing missing is Jack Torrance chasing after you with an axe. Walls in both quests have to be bombed, and of course the second is loaded with walk-through walls, including some of the one-way variety. The maps for both versions are somewhat similar, with the first quest resembling a skull, and the second Ganon's head. Look at those beady eyes.
For me playing through the first quest in my childhood, these one-way sections with the shutter slamming behind me were some of the most confusing parts of traversing Ganon's lair. These frustrations also boil over into the second quest, and both scenarios force you to backtrack to an earlier part of the dungeon to fight your way back around again. It's a huge drain on time and resources, and it was especially hurtful in the second quest since it happens so close to the end fight with Ganon. You get shuffled back out to practically the very beginning of the dungeon at that point, and it's probably best to duck out, get some new potion, and head back in again since you've likely been beaten to a bloody pulp.
The difficulty is somewhat alleviated by the fact that the red ring is found within the depths of level 9 in both quests, although like the red candle, it does seem to be a patra in the ointment to award it to you so late in the game, at this point damn near the end. At the very least, even if you can't find the red ring, you can still finish the game without it. In contrast, the silver arrow is mandatory to fight Ganon, and its location is even more deceptively hidden away in the 9th dungeon in both quests.
With all the required items in tow, the only thing left to do is to find Pigface himself and vaporize him. As Link hoists the reassembled Triforce overhead, the final battle begins. The fight's the same in both quests, with Ganon going invisible and throwing fireballs at Link while he makes his way around the room. Nothing screams final battle like a skull floor motif.
Ganon reappears each time Link successfully connects with a sword strike, and it only takes a few stabs before he turns a shade of bloody crimson. This is Link's opportunity to drive home the killing blow by sending a silver arrow through Ganon's heart, reducing him to a pile of dust, with only the Triforce of Power ironically serving as his epitaph. The door to Princess Zelda's prison then opens, and peace is restored to Hyrule.
As that sweet ragtime ditty starts playing, you're rewarded with a hearty thank you from Zelda on behalf of Hyrule. After finishing the first quest, you're immediately prompted to start the second, but when you finish it, you're greeted with a little ego jab by reminding you of your total death count from both quests combined. Finally, you have some closure from your adventure with the message for the true ending. You have an amazing wisdom and power. End of The Legend of Zelda 1.
And there you have it, the many differences between The Legend of Zelda's first and second quests. To think that a 30-plus-year-old video game would have a new quest after finishing the first still baffles me to this day. Zelda was so ahead of its time. I'd like to thank everyone who stuck through this comparison, as it is something that has intrigued me for a very long time. And also thanks to Hungry Goriya for helping me out with this project. We bonded a bit over our love for The Legend of Zelda, and she was the ideal partner to help me out with presenting this video. Make sure to check out her channel. And I'm sure we missed a few differences, so if we did, make sure to let us know in the comments below. Thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, catch you later.